The move to millions is just that. It's a move. It's an action. There are going to be steps that have to be taken, foundations that have to be set, failures that have to occur for you to get to the $1 million mark. And do you have vision enough to stay and to keep getting up when it might be failure after failure? I believe that failure comes before success, not just in the dictionary, right? And then that execution, like there are a lot of people with big dreams and big goals that aren't taking the consistent actions, that aren't executing to produce what it is that they say they want for themselves through their business.
You're listening to the Move to Millions podcast with Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon, the place to be for high-level conversations about all things millions. Your mission, mindset, methodologies, mandate, movement, messaging, marketing, metrics, and most definitely your money. I am your host, spiritual business growth coach, Dr. Darnyelle J. Harmon. Join me each week for inspiring stories, powerful interviews, and business growth strategy to help you experience abundance in your life because of your business. If you're ready to move to your next level everything, let's get this party started.
This episode is powered by the Move to Millions tour. I am so excited to be heading back on the road after 2 long years, visiting some of our favorite places where members of our community reside: Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Georgia, and right here in Newark, Delaware. If you're ready to prepare to make and move millions, you need to meet us on tour. Go to Move to Millions event /tour to learn more. I am so excited about this season, this new wave of love and energy that is just moving through our rebrand. And I'm excited to continue unpacking why we changed the name, why we have a new focus, and how excited I am about the results that we are seeing for our clients. I feel like I'm Moses. I know I talked to you in the last episode about my Moses moment when God gave me the 3 words, move to millions, right? And I feel like Moses on the other side, right? The Moses who is no longer questioning whether or not it's him and if he should go, but is actually standing boldly and being obedient and showing up fully for the children of Israel. And I feel so excited and elated to know that I know, like I know my name, that I was called for this. I was born for this. This is the work that I am supposed to do. And so today, in this episode, I want to talk to you, millions-minded, service-based entrepreneur, about what I like to call the Move to Millions Continuum. So the Move to Millions Continuum is, for me, really, really exciting because I believe that no one goes to bed a blunder and wakes up a wonder, right? Like, you're not going to make a decision that you want to have $1 million company and have one tomorrow. It's going to be a journey, right? There's going to be a move that has to take place. When I think about move, and when God first gave me those 3 words and told me that there was an acronym associated with the move, I got really excited, right? And so the acronym stands for mastery, operational obedience, vision, and execution to and beyond the $1 million mark. Here's what I know. You need to master some strategies, right? You're going to have to take some time and get crystal clear about your pricing and your packaging, your positioning, the promise that you make in your work, and your promotion strategy. You're going to have to get clear about your visibility and your presence and how you're going to show up in the world. All of that is under the mastery piece. And then that operational obedience piece is kind of like, I don't even know the word. Like, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, it's about operations. And are you strategically automating and aligning your company to work without you being the one in charge of every single thing? But then are you being obedient to the call that's on your life, right? And that's heavy. Thinking about the work that you do as a call. Like, I remember when it dawned on me, and I'll be honest, it wasn't that long ago. Although I've been doing this work for 14 years total and for 11 years successfully, it really wasn't that long ago that it dawned on me that I am not really a business coach, that might be what the industry calls me, but the work that we do with our clients is so much deeper than that. It's so much bigger than that. And that obedience piece to showing up fully in the gift, in the call on my life, is a lot of times what trips people up, which is why success mindset, and that's where vision comes in, vision, not just seeing where you're going, but refusing to allow what you end up seeing when you're feeling fear or frustration to hinder what you know to be true about who you are, your purpose, and the work that you're supposed to do on this planet. Staying in a space where your success mindset is actually fueling you. I've heard different people give different statistics, and I recently even heard a neuroscientist say that our mindset and our brain set are tribute to about 90% of our success. I've always personally believed it's been about 95%, right? I can teach you almost anything, but you have got to believe that you are worthy and deserving of it in order for that thing that I desire to teach you to actually produce the result that you are desiring inside of your life experience. But I'll go with the neuroscience because I'm not trained in it. I've just done a lot of personal work around it because I wanted to make sure that I could put my clients in a position to truly shift and change their lives, to stop telling those stories that don't serve them and actually get themselves into action that is going to reward what it is that they truly desire. So that vision piece is really all about that success mindset and holding a space until you get there, right? The move to millions is just that. It's a move. It's an action. There are going to be steps that have to be taken, foundations that have to be set, failures that have to occur for you to get to the $1 million mark. And do you have vision enough to stay and to keep getting up when it might be failure after failure? I believe that failure comes before success, not just in the dictionary, right? And then that execution, like there are a lot of people with big dreams and big goals that aren't taking the consistent actions, that aren't executing to produce what it is that they say they want for themselves through their business. And so when we think about mastery, operational obedience, vision, and execution to and beyond the $1 million mark, these days I get really, really excited. And so I was literally sitting in my office, pen to paper or pen to Remarkable. Shout out to Remarkable. I love my Remarkable. If you've not heard of Remarkable, you should really look it up. But I'm literally sitting there with my pen to my Remarkable, and I started framing what is today become the Move to Millions Continuum. I think the first stop on the continuum is $100,000 a year, right? Now, let's be clear. $100,000 a year is a milestone, not a stopping point. You've heard me say this before. You cannot live the abundant life that God called you to on $100,000 a year. And your business only making $100,000 is really like small business poverty, because after basic needs and necessities and taxes and expenses for your business, that $100,000 is a little less than $40,000. And I don't know whose life you changing for $40,000, right? And so when I say that, it is contrarian, and I purposely want to get people emotional. I want to piss people off because I don't want you to think that it's the place to stop. It's a place to stop long enough to celebrate that you made it, because only 10% of businesses ever make more than six figures. Only 10%. 80, it's like, well, it's a little bit more. 89.19% based on the last statistics that we have from the SBA and the IRS state that 89.19% of businesses do not exceed $100,000 a year in gross receipts. So that's about 10.35% that do. And even less, 2.35% ever cross the $1 million mark. Yo, you can't stop. You got to keep moving. So $100,000 is the first stopping point. And I want you to celebrate because it is a big deal. So many people never hit that milestone, although for many, the six-figure mark is the holy grail. But the fact is, this has got to change because we cannot be the change we want to see. We cannot leave a legacy. We cannot shift generational trajectories and give our children's children something that our parents couldn't give us unless we leverage the power of our businesses to build wealth. I don't know the statistic off, but I know that when you look at the wealth that exists in this country, the majority percent comes through business ownership. I just want to let that breathe for a second. The majority percentage comes through business ownership. See, you thought you were just starting a business out of the necessity of being laid off from your job or because you really loved being able to help people in this way, but you actually have the ability to take that business and turn it into a wealth machine that creates a legacy for the next few generations. Like, I get excited, and you guys know my parts of my story. I don't even have children yet. But I get excited about the thought that my children's children will speak my name, not just because of my sweet potato pie recipe. And oh, yeah, I can make a banging sweet potato pie, but because I cared enough about them to make them millionaires, every single one of them, when I leave this earth. I think about that Irma Bombeck quote. She says, "When I stand before God at the end of my life, I hope not to have a single bit of talent left, saying I used everything you gave me." Like, that's my MO, y'all. Like, I'm trying to use everything he gave me. For a lot of years, I played small, allowing some of you to enroll in programs that are subservient because you didn't know that I existed. And I said, no more. Like, I got to deal with my own fears. I got to get out of my own way. I got to get my own self on the Move to Millions continuum. So the first stop is the $100,000 a year mark. And that's exciting. And I want you to celebrate it. I am not purposely diminishing the significance of hitting that milestone because it is a big deal. But we both know if you've hit $100,000 a year, we both know you can't stop there. Not if you really want to be the change you want to see in your family and in your community. So the next stop on the continuum is $100,000 a quarter. $100,000 a quarter comes out to about $33,333.33 a month in gross revenue. So money that's coming into your business, basically $35,000 a month is what you're doing. And now you're having a six-figure quarter, you're having a $400,000 a year, which is pretty cool because now you can pay yourself six figures. And when you can pay yourself six figures, if you have financial advisement and you are not living beneath or above your needs, you can actually start putting money away for retirement, making sure that you have the right insurances in your business and thinking about your children for the future. I get stoked at the thought that in addition to life insurance policies that are at least $1 million each for however many children I ended up being able to bring and care for into this world, my children will have a trust and they'll be able to decide if they want to use it to go to college or they want to use it to buy their first home, assuming that we don't leave them a home because we're also building a real estate portfolio, or they'll be able to use it to start their business. It'll be seed money. Can we just for a second sidebar and talk about that? Like, what kind of a difference would it have made for you to have seed money to start your business? To not have to need access to capital because your mother or your mother's mother or your father's father thought enough of you to create a trust for there to be something for you when you were at the point of making that pivotal decision of how you were going to show up in the world. Listen, this is what I'm talking about when I say move to millions. It's about normalizing wealth and legacy, because if you did not come from millions, I believe you have a right and a responsibility and obligation even to make sure that millions comes from you. And that's what small business ownership affords us. And although the industry calls us small businesses if we have less than 500 employees, I am by no stretch or imagination minimizing the significance of the work that you do and the lives that you change inside of your business. Your business might be classified as small, but it's big. It's life-changing. It's a game changer. And after we successfully get to the $100,000 quarters and the $300,000 to $400,000 a year, the next stop is $100,000 months. Now, I made a decision not that long ago. Many of you know my story about, let me just recount it again, just really quickly. Okay, so I started the business in 2007 after finishing the pink Cadillac. You guys know this part. Didn't go well, first off, so I ended up filing bankruptcy, going back to work for 2 years, came out in 2011, first year full-time in the business, we crossed the six-figure mark, right? Second year full-time, which would have been 2012, we more than doubled our business from what we did the first year. Third year, 2013, we nearly doubled the business again. So we went from like $180,000 that first year to like $370,000 the next year. And then the year after that, we did like almost $500,000. So nearly doubling the business again in 2013. 2014, we had that big spike and we did 1.8. 2016, we did about 2.3. 2017, we backed down to about 700,000. 2018, we kind of remained flat. We were about like at about 800,000. 2019, we went back over the $1 million mark. 2020, over the $1 million mark. 2021, 2 million, right? So just to kind of give you a little snapshot of our continuum. In 2019, when God told me, you know, this story, it was in last season, Next Level Everything was that episode's title. God said, I will let them live on whatever level they settle for. And I had to pull my car over because I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, God, this is so good. But at the same time, whatever level you're living on is the level that you settle for. And so I decided right then at the end of 2019 that $100,000 cash months were my new normal, because I wanted to get the business back to $1 million because I knew that I could, and I was actually ready for it. Because when I did the millions the first time, I wasn't expecting to do it. I wasn't mentally prepared. It was a very turmoilistic, I know that might not be a word, time in my life. And the ish hit the fan. And it wasn't fun. It was everything that Biggie said it would be. It was more money and it was more problems. And I wanted out of it as fast as I could get out of it. I couldn't kill my business fast enough. But by 2019, 2020, I was very clear about who I am. I had accepted the mandate on my life. I was ready to show up fully and more boldly. I think I told you guys the story about how in 2018, 5 different arbitrary people all basically told me I'm playing small and I need to stop. And I decided to heed the warning. And so I was ready. I was ready to go back. I was ready to build the company. I was ready to live into that mandate. And so I started moving back into it, right? But and the first decision was that I was going to do $100,000 a month. And catch this, it wasn't for the sake of having $100,000 a month. It was for the ability to be able to tithe $10,000 a month. You heard me correctly, people. I stopped setting revenue goals and I started setting tithing goals. And the reason I did that is because I've been a chaser of the money. The first time we did $1 million, the rush to get there was about validation and approving of my worthiness. I felt like if I did that, then people might finally love me. I might be going a little too deep with you, but I hope you don't mind me keeping it real. And so once I did my work and I no longer needed validation because of things or people, it kind of tainted the experience of money. And I wanted to stop chasing it. But I also wanted to live up to my potential because abundance and wealth and millions, they're my birthright. And so I decided that the best way for me to think about money without becoming all consumed by money was to focus on being able to give money away. And I'm so excited to share with you guys that in 2021, $200,000 is the amount of money I gave away, and maybe even a little bit more than that. And so when I decided that $100,000 cash months became my new normal, it literally was like the Rubik's Cube just kind of went right into place and all of the colors were in the right place. Some of you millennials might not get that reference. Look it up, Google it. But it's as if everything just kind of went into place. It suddenly made sense. 6-figure months became my new normal. And then as we crossed the multiple $1 million month, this time doing it in a way that serves and supports us, that makes me feel good and proud to be running a company that employs other people and gives to causes and communities to help them to expand their reach and continue their important work. Oh, my heart is so stinking full. And so now we have a new mantra that $250,000 cash months are our new normal. And it will continue to accelerate up from there over the next few years to get to our 8-figure trajectory. I fully believe that we can get to 8 figures sooner than we've planned for it. We're planning for it in a 3-year strategic plan. I believe we can get there before 3 years, but I'm going to give myself the grace to do it in a way that honors who I am, gives God the glory, and doesn't send me to a space of overwhelm because I don't want to ever chase the number again. So when you think about the Move to Millions continuum, 6-figure years, 6-figure quarters, or 6-figure months, where are you? Where are you? And what do you feel like you most need in order to get to the next tier? Now, you probably know that what got you to 6 figures won't get you to 7, right? Whether that means you've been hustling and grinding. You might even have one of those t-shirts, wake, pray, grind, burn that thing. Stop grinding. It's about grace, not grind, right? You might be hustling and grinding, but what you really need is some systems and some operational infrastructure and some automation so that you can make lead generation predictable inside of your business. You might have a desperate sales energy or feel like you don't want to be salesy, you hate sales. And so you don't ever present yourself as the solution to people. Whereas to get to the next rung, you're going to have to start requiring your clients to rise up and recognize who they are in the presence of so that they can be served fully by you, right? You might be unclear about what you offer and have a low ticket business model. I probably will do an entire episode on high-end services and pricing. And you're going to have to change that to get to the point where you have an amazing offer suite to share with those that you've been called to serve. You might feel overwhelmed because you're doing all the things. You're going to need a new method of delivery. We call it the leverage and scale delivery system. You might think you need to just keep getting on trend with the new things that are coming up instead of identifying the right strategy for your business and focusing on it exclusively until you hit your milestone. You might be consistently feeling unsure about if you provide any value at all, and you might be doubting yourself constantly. You might even be thinking that getting to six-figure years was a fluke. You're going to have to shift into knowing and showing up fully because you clearly understand and embody all that God created for you to be. And you're going to have to leave those mediocre mindsets and beliefs behind because they're not serving you. And you're going to need a success mindset and belief that abundance is unlimited and it is available to you right now and every time you decide. So when I think about the Move to Millions Continuum, like that's what it's about for me. And this is high level. Inside of our programs, Leverage and Scale Weekend and the Move to Millions Mastermind, we go in depth. For those of you who will join us on tour in one of the cities that we're visiting, you'll learn more about the Move to Millions Continuum. We'll give you some great insight into some of the things you need to be thinking. If you're at $100,000 a year, which we call momentum, how to get to mastery, which is $100,000 a quarter. And then if you're at mastery, which is $100,000 a quarter, how do you get to millions, which is $100,000 a month? What does that look like? What's the continuum for you? And then more importantly, what is the strategy that needs to be developed and mastered? And what needs to be done operationally in obedience to execute the vision that you have for yourself to get your business to the point where you are creating generational wealth and legacy. Listen, I'm excited about all that we have put together and will be unveiling to you, not just through the podcast, but through our live events and in our programs and our community. Shout out to the Move to Millions group on Facebook. If you do not belong to the Move to Millions group on Facebook, stop playing yourself and come and join us. We're having such a great time over there, really just breaking down what it takes and what we call the Move to Millions method and getting people ready to make and move millions. Because if you ask me, that's what it's all about. Because if you did not come from millions, again, I say millions ought to come from you. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Thank you for joining me for the Move to Millions podcast. If, after listening to this episode, you're ready to stop playing and praying small, you should go grab my Plan for Millions bundle. One thing I know for sure is that before you can make the move, you've got to have the plan. If you enjoyed our time together, do yourself a favor. Head on over to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Until next time, remember, millions are your birthright, and to access them, all you have to do is move. Take care.